we got mining, we got pharmaceuticals, we've got manufacturing, cars, everything happens here. But the problem is we don't have people in data centers.
Yeah.
So the gap is not that we're short of skills, we're short of the volume of that skill in data centers.
And I've understood that if you could make the biogas thing work, it actually would cut emissions still, what, 50-60%?
Massively. I will not put a number to it, but if we could do that one, we would actually not only to cut our emissions, we would probably set the path for the whole industry to cut the masses, the carbon emissions down.
Well, there's a lot that has been happening with artificial intelligence. You're not talking about 100 and 150 megawatts and stuff like that, but you're talking about a good 5, 10, 15 megawatts of delivery chain that aggregates to a good size. That is what actually plays out in Africa.
Welcome back to Why Should We Care About African Data Centers, the podcast where we tackle the big questions shaping the industry. I'm your host, Ville Wacklin, and today we're doing something completely different. We're here at the beautiful Devonvale golf course, interviewing some of the biggest industry leaders in the African data center space. Hi Lars, how you doing?
Very good to have you here.
Good to have you here. So what's your expectation for today's golf?
Well, in terms of golf, I have no expectation at all. This is an annual event for me, so I'll try to do my very best, which doesn't actually say a lot, but that's my expectation for today in terms of golf. Have a good time and meet my peers in the industry, and hopefully, play some golf and have some decent conversations.
Cool stuff. So Lars here is the CEO of Rack Center Nigeria, and we are asking some difficult questions from him today.
Apart from the golf.
All right, happy with the drive?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
I thought it was okay.
Golf is consistently bad. The word of today is consistency though.
That's good. So you speak about sustainable digitalization. What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't think we can have any digitalization in Nigeria or elsewhere without talking about sustainability. I think there's a larger conversation that needs to be done. On one side, how do you close the gap in terms of inclusiveness and access to digitalization? That's all good, and that's what we're all building for. But can you do that without considering, how we power up this industry? And I think we cannot. This debate is already up and running in every single region. Yep. It's a debate of how to energize. For Nigeria, it's not only a data center issue, it's a topic for all population. So considering the both things, how we digitize, how we support digitalization, to do that and not having a narrative and a plan around sustainability is not really feasible. So I kind of package them all together. I think sustainable digitalization captures the essence of what we try to do. We digitize in a responsible and sustainable manner.
So we know that the grid in Nigeria can be tricky, like it's on and off. So you made a decision to go off grid with your data center. How does that work?
It worked out fantastic. As you know, and we talked about many times, one of the things that actually make Rack Center stand out is operational performance. So 2013, which is when the company started, that was already a decision not to depend on the grid power. And that has panned out to be very successful because we have not had any kind of downtime at all. And that was good, but we took one step further 2020 to adopt gas energization of the data center. And that has continued to be a very good decision for the reason I mentioned before about sustainability. It is also that we are the complete owner of our power generation in the probably best way you can energize a data center in Nigeria, which is gas. The carbon footprint is way better than other alternatives. So when it comes to operational performance, uptime, and actually having a super solid team on the ground that knows the stuff, that works according to processes, according to policies, it has been a very good journey. We might pivot in the future to consider to access utility power. That could be an option for us, but right now what we're doing is we continue to build out on our own gas generated power, and we're now adding the whole renewable mix into it in a phased approach where we go from what I call a fraction of renewable coming into the mix and then going most likely into solar park around the corner to have a mix where we have gas and renewable. And that comes back to previous point. How do you try to be as sustainable as you can be in this digitalization journey? So overall, very happy what the team has done. Very happy with the decision taken so far. And we will leverage that one moving forward.
Yeah. So the winning formula is mix of different power sources and trying to make that as sustainable as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only a story that we support, it's actually the only story we can support, because moving forward, our clients, both Nigerian clients, international clients, they demand from us to have a solution for a more greener renewable and hours produced of renewable energy. So it's a very easy decision to say, and we are betting hard on that one.
Cool. You've also brought up here and there the opportunity to go, to use biogas to power the data center. So how would that work in theory? And is that a credible option in the future potentially?
Well, the practical part of the question is that we need to assess any potential energy source that we can have in the energy mix over a long period. The theoretical answer is a yes, it's possible, and we're exploring more from a brainstorming perspective right now, whether biogas could be an option for us, because that would be the ideal, renewable, sustainable digitalization stuff. But I would say the biogas as today is pretty much just a brainstorming session.
Okay.
But we don't exclude anything or any renewable source in the next coming years for our business.
And I've understood that if you could make the biogas thing work, it actually would cut emissions still, 50-60%?
Massively. I will not put a number to it, but if we could do that one, we would actually not only to cut our emissions, we would probably set the path for the whole industry to cut the masses, the carbon emissions down. So that would be a huge thing.
I'd be really curious to follow that discussion.
Yeah, I am as well.
Obviously, data center industry is still fairly young, and what I've seen across the continent and elsewhere as well, sometimes the policies can't keep up, and there's a lot of education you need to do to make also the policy people understand what they need to do, what kind of policies they need to make.
Yeah.
So is this something that's how is the situation now in Nigeria? Have you found the policymakers helpful or still struggling?
Yes, it is a young industry, but maybe Nigeria in this region is still nascent industry, but it's not that new at the end of the day. Data centers have been around for a long time in one scale or another. So when it comes to policy making, I'm pretty optimistic and enthusiastic about the support that the Nigerian government gives us today. I think the last year have been proven very successful. The NITA, the NCC are definitely looking into both from an AI policy perspective, they're looking into data sovereignty perspective, they're looking into how to do energy, which is a long-term capital investment, obviously, that supports our journey into larger scale in Nigeria. What I've seen so far is that I think they're taking the right decision, the right people working with them, and we from RAC Center are super proud to be part of technical committees that work together with NITA to define the cloud first, the sovereignty, and also the Nigeria first adoption, particularly for public administration, of how to embrace digitalization and increase productivity and efficiency for the normal citizens and the business. So I'm actually very optimistic. Now it takes time. Certain good things in life require that it takes time, but I think the right people are doing a lot of the good things right now. So yes, I'm optimistic.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lars.
Thanks, Ville.
Welcome to the T10. We have here Ayotunde Coker, who is the CEO of Open Access Data Centers, which is part of the larger WIOC group.
Yes.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Good. You've just played 9 rounds?
Nine holes.
Nine holes, of course.
Yes.
How were the first 9 holes?
Very nice. We're blessed with great weather, lovely sunshine, nice temperature, slight breeze. And the format is great because we pick the best drive and then, of course, we then finish the hole. That means you always pick someone's good drive, which takes the odd, wayward drive you might play out of the equation. So it's been really nice, just good scoring.
Cool.
A fantastic day catching up with the
Exactly.
friends in the industry again.
It's a beautiful tradition, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, you are speaking about sachet economy as part of digital infrastructure, especially data centers. And for those who don't kind of understand the terminology in the African context, would you be
Yes.
able to share what does that mean
Yes.
first, like as a term, and then how that plays
Yes.
out in the data center industry?
Okay, you tend to find, especially in Africa, probably more around the world now, but especially in Africa, things get sold not in bulk, not a jar of coffee, for instance. You have sachets, little sachets of coffee, or it could be sugar, it could be milk, it could be many things, but they come in sachets. The reason for that is because typically most of the population will earn today to spend tomorrow. So they tend to spend as they go along. Now, the mobile telephony industry innovated in Africa this idea of, a pay card as you go. So you charge off your phone for the, the time you need to use, say, for the next day.
Yeah.
Now, if you get the value chain and the supply chain right, it's actually quite profitable because the total you'll make for the same volume is actually significantly more if you have an efficient delivery chain that is cost effective. So that's the sachet economy. So what does it mean in the context of digital infrastructure? One, connectivity. If you're able to, as is possible in many cases, people will buy as they need to go along and make it easy, very easy to buy. Fintech, through using USSD code or whatever, just make it easy to buy. Now, the other part of it is that increasingly small, micro, businesses want to use technology to manage their their businesses, what they sell, and so on. So they use cloud technologies. Now, cloud is a very good example of how you can use pay-to-use technology on an as-you-go basis. And what you can also do, not just pay and subscribe to the functionality as you go, but also as you grow, you expand what you do.
Yeah.
That's the analogy I used of the sachet economy, and that's how it plays out with digital infrastructure.
Okay. And in your actual data center operations, how does that play out? Like, do you like when you look for new clients, new customers, do you offer that kind of packages, or is there a correlation?
Well, to an extent, when we have smaller companies, they can take a portion of the rack. They don't have to buy huge amounts. And we optimize what we do in being able to meet that need. It meets a certain point of the market. However, you find increasingly clients of ours are cloud companies.
Yeah.
And we don't get into that space. We stick to our knitting, we provide colocation. However, we stand beside and behind our clients and do what we can do for them to be successful. Their success is our success. So therefore, as we build very vibrant, carrier-neutral, interconnect environments that deliver efficient connectivity out to the eyeballs out there, we also provide our clients with a cloud infrastructure in colocation, where they then deliver very effective and efficient cloud services out to the MSMEs out there.
Yeah.
So that's how the role we play in underpinning the sachet economy in the digital context.
Great, that's amazing. So finally, we are almost done with the year 2025. What are you expecting for 2026 in the industry?
Well, there's a lot that has been happening with artificial intelligence. You're seeing this mix of, what is enterprise use of digital infrastructure. You have the hyperscale, mid-scale cloud services, and you have the top-end density of AI. People would usually say in the past, just a couple of years, that AI is very dense. It's a big learning modules, LLMs, and they could be anywhere, not latency sensitive. Actually, it's something I always asserted, really, is that there is a latency sensitive aspect to the AI value chain. You have the inference layer, which means that it's connected to the learning modules, but this is where you actually drive it into very latency sort of sensitive, high performing delivery of that layer. You're not talking about 100 and 150 megawatts and stuff like that, but you're talking about a good 5, 10, 15 megawatts of delivery chain that aggregates to a good size. That is what actually plays out in Africa. You also find that in Africa, the learning models have to be relevant in the African context, in terms of the learning, in terms of the languaging, in terms of the types of heuristics you would put in place. Then you have the middle bit, is what I call it, where you host the 10, 15 megawatts I've talked about, but then you have the front bit, which is where you have the applications that have to be delivered in the context they're used in. That is being developed in a very vibrant way right across the continent. The sort of leading areas tend to be around South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, but nevertheless, lots of AI-based applications are now being developed. So that's what I see really starting to take shape through 2026. It's been building up. We've been building the kind of infrastructure that actually supports that kind of layer. It's not just, the inference layer, but it's packaged by a lot of the cloud providers, the OTTs, and they use that to deliver new service offerings. Could you imagine if you're an OTT and you're delivering a service offering and it's just the little thing delayed just because of the late, and then it messes up the customer experience, the user experience. So you'll find more of that latency-sensitive capacity starting to come through. We're starting to see even more hyperscale infrastructure coming into service across the continent, and even some of the mid-scale infrastructure. That's where we have this core to edge proposition, right? And the converged open digital infrastructure that brings open data center, carrier neutral data center capability, and hyperscale, wholesale neutral, connectivity, right, together. It means, therefore, you can optimize the way we bring our infrastructure to support the inference layer right down through to the front end layer with the core data centers, the connectivity, and the mid to edge data centers. I think you'll really see that starting to take shape and anchor as we go through 2026 into 2027.
Thank you, Tunde, for this short session. Let's go for lunch.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, let's go for lunch.
Welcome back to the T10. I have Perrin here from CBRE. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
I saw the drive. Beautiful. The most beautiful drive I've seen today. So, how's today?
Good. It's hot. It's like 30 degrees. Eh?
Yeah,
you must be warm.
Hot.
You must be warm.
Yeah, I'm really hot. Yeah, I've tried to remain sane. Anyway, what is CBRE? What do you do?
So CBRE, global corporate real estate business, probably one of the biggest in the world. But we've got single verticals within our business. I sit in the data center division. So all we do is data centers, from like buying the land, project management, the build, and then operations. I really sit with the operational part of the business.
Okay.
So my key responsibility is having to find people, get them into the data center, and the client hands over all responsibility to us, and we literally run these facilities.
Okay.
And that's our core business.
So I keep hearing that there's a skills gap in Africa and impossible to find skills. So is that true?
So the way I need to answer this question is we don't have a skills gap. We are if you look at the size of the continent, right, how many countries in the world can fit inside of Africa? So we're a big part of the world. And if you think about it, manufacturing, engineering, we've got mining, we've got pharmaceuticals, we've got manufacturing, cars, everything happens here. But the problem is we don't have people in data centers.
Yeah.
So the gap is not that we're short of skills, we're short of the volume of that skill in data centers. So how do you focus or how do you sort of educate kids that are going into engineering paths to say, I want to be an engineer in a data center?
Yeah.
So we don't have a skills gap. And the other thing that I want to tell you is that So I spent 14 years in London, right?
Yeah.
Running data centers. The times that a generator starts in London is very rare.
Yeah.
In South Africa, for example, or Nigeria, with load shedding,
Yeah.
your power cutting for 4 hours every 4 hours is a different world, right?
Yeah.
Or Nigeria running on generators permanently.
Yeah.
So it's the normal are they calling for? So the normal engineer in South Africa or Africa is switching large power systems on and off all day long. So their natural skill is muscle memory of switching high voltage power constantly.
Yeah.
Where, let's say in the UK, you maybe do that once in a year.
Kind of just observe that everything's running smoothly.
So compare those two skill levels.
Yeah.
Our skill levels are much higher, but our experience and the time that we've had large data centers is very short.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So any plans for 2026 to do something about the skills gap?
So I mean, we've done a lot of work with you guys, right?
Yeah.
And we've invested heavily to try and find out what the skills gap is. What does Africa need? Because it's pointless. There's lots of skills like educational certification, training that you can do globally. I mean, I can sign on right now. I can pay a $5,000 course or certification right now, but it doesn't give me skills.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is find really an African version of what does Africa need?
Yeah.
How do we train Africans? What type of training do we need to give them? We need an African solution. Because if all the global stuff would have worked, it would have resolved all skills gap that we had right now.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's really the plan for next year. The plan for next year is having a tailored African solution that potentially is free because cost is a problem for Africa.
Of course.
And operators can't spend $5,000 on some type of training or certification. So we need, like we're the last guys to join the data center game, right?
Exactly.
So why not invest now, get the skills gap resolved now? If we have to fund it or find funding, invest in the training now, get the baseline of skills in place or attract skills into our industry now. And then later we can decide on charging people large volumes, large values on training, right? So, and that's the sort of situation that we're in now in this continent.
All right. So in 2026, will we see the first Pan-African skills development platform for data centers?
So a little bit of a spoiler alert, we are. The whole idea is that beginning of next year for South African syllabus timings is that beginning of next year, we're definitely going to kick off our first big pilot. And I think by the middle of next year, we should have some results, right? So the whole idea is we want to show that we've found skills, brought them into the industry, trained them, given some practical experience, and actually get them employed. So the idea is middle next year that we should start seeing people flood into the market. New skills.
Sounds good. Watch this space.
Watch this space.
Okay, exactly. Pleasure.
This podcast is part of the Data Governance in Africa initiative, helping the African Union shape data policies, enable cross-border data flows, and build secure, sustainable digital infrastructure. Funded by the EU and 5 member states, it supports a unified digital market in Africa.